Hello, fellow Washingtonians. This is Joy Gjersvold, the Programs Director at Conservative Ladies of Washington. I wanted to make a quick video today to bring to you 4 of our key takeaways and concerns from last Friday's Early Learning and K-12 Education Committee, where the State Board of Education presented on mastery-based or competency-based learning. The key takeaways are, first of all, mastery-based learning is happening. It's here. In 2019, our legislature passed Senate Bill 1599, which allowed for the establishment of the work group for mastery-based learning here in Washington State. Since then, legislation has been passed that has provided a pathway to this being the end result. It includes legislation for funding, as well as making changes to the requirements for graduation here in Washington. You may not know this, but legislation has been passed that allows students who have not met graduation criteria to be given a waiver or a pathway in order to graduate on time with the rest of their class. This is one of the steps toward mastery-based learning. According to the State Board of Education, in a press release that they put out on December 12th, 2023, there were 47 schools across 28 districts in Washington State that were participating already in the working group, the work up to where they want to go and make this the standard for education and learning in Washington. The second takeaway is that it has been made painfully clear by this committee, as well as legislation and even the State Board of Education, that the state knows best for your children, even when they don't. It's been made clear for some time that parents are viewed as nothing more than a nuisance, something that gets in the way of policymakers trying to bring the Washington State education system into fruition in the image that the government sees fit, not necessarily what is best for the children of Washington State. None of the examples that were shared from other state programs, or even what they've done so far in Washington by the State Board of Education last Friday, focused on the vital role of parent involvement in education and that they have a key stake in the education of their children. It also did not focus on the desperate need to return Washington public education to focusing on academic excellence. They did not talk about the fact that our kids are not meeting standard in ELA or science or math, and they didn't present ways to make that happen, to return to that standard of excellence. One senator actually asked a question specifically about students, quote, incarcerated in systems of care. That immediately made me think of the recently filed bill, Senate Bill 5007, to try to address chronic absenteeism with students. And that piece of legislation will give school districts license to turn your children over to the juvenile justice system. And I thought, do our policymakers honestly believe that the juvenile justice system and other government systems are systems of care and better for our children than their own families? These are questions that need to be asked, because each piece of legislation that is passed in Washington is a stepping stone for the next piece of legislation to get to where they really want to go ultimately. The third takeaway is that you need to be planning for more government. The examples from other states that they shared specifically created offices of. So you're going to have more offices to basically help facilitate and manage mastery-based learning. And what this results in is more taxes, a bigger burden on taxpayers. And with Inslee leaving a beautiful gift of $10 to $12 billion in deficit, this means that people are going to be paying higher taxes. This is not something that the people want, nor do we need. The fourth takeaway, the State Board of Education has contracted with at least 2 out-of-state nonprofits to help them facilitate mastery-based learning. The first is Great Schools Partnership, which is located in Maine. They use global best practices to design an equitable education system to ensure outcomes. They don't build systems that have an outcome of academic excellence, just educators' view of what the outcome should be. The second nonprofit that they have contracted with is the Aurora Institute, and they are located in Washington, D.C., contracted with our Washington State Board of Education to evaluate mastery-based learning in Washington. They are lobbyists more than they are educational professionals. The data and analysis that they gather on our students here in Washington help them support their influence on politicians and policy. Their focus is not academic excellence or the success of Washington State students. This should concern every one of us. So what now? What do I do? How do I help? Mastery-based learning's already here. I can't stop it. You're right. But I do encourage parents and taxpayers to attend your local school board meetings and make public comment about mastery-based learning and the lowering of graduation standards. Ask questions about how many students have been given pathways and waivers in order to boost graduation numbers, but graduate illiterate and ill-prepared students. Visit the State Board of Education website, research mastery-based learning. Click on every single hyperlink. Do not just go off of the forward-facing words that they want you to believe is what it's all about. Listen in on state committee meetings like we do. You don't have to make public comment if they are taking public comment, but just be in the know. Look at the materials that are provided for the meetings and understand what decisions are being made on your behalf as taxpayers. Join Conservative Ladies of Washington in our fight to hold our legislators accountable. And don't ever hesitate to send an email to Conservative Ladies or to me, joy@conservativeladiesofwashington.com.